Hi, Steve from Steve M Outdoors here, and today, because it's 6 million degrees outside and a little too hot for fishing or shooting, I'm going to make a video instead. So why not? Today we're going to discuss something that was prompted by a gun store visit recently. Some of the mistakes that military rifle collectors commonly make. What makes me an expert? Well, I've made more than a few mistakes over my collecting life, so hopefully you can learn from my experiences, save yourself some time, money, grief, and in no particular order, and I know that goes against standard YouTube top 5 lists. These are in no particular order, so here we go. I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make early in the process is that they don't do any research before making their purchases. Oftentimes they'll see something in a gun store or from someone looking to sell a firearm, buy it, and then find out that they don't have what they think they do. Good example is a lot of people out there, great grandpa carried an M1903 Springfield in the Great War, so they buy one only to find out later that some backyard bubba did some work to it, maybe change the rear sights out to make it more practical for something like hunting, let's say, and it's not in its original configuration. We live in a day and age where more information than ever is available to collectors. So don't be afraid to lay out money for books. And I know that's old-fashioned, but they have a lot of information in them, a lot more than YouTube videos, which I'm about to recommend next. So don't be afraid to buy books. Watch YouTube channels like this one, Forgotten Weapons, See an Arsenal, and visit some respected forums like Gun Board or Military Surplus Collectors Forum. Those two forums in particular are just filled with experts who seem to know everything about firearms, and if they don't know, they'll do the research and they'll help you out. By spending some time and money before you make a purchase, you could save yourself a lot of money and time down the road. The information is out there, and find out what you don't know by looking for it. Next up, if there's anything that makes the heart of a military surplus collector weep, it's seeing a sporterized military rifle. Some of those collectors buy it knowing that it's sporterized because they want to do the noble thing and restore that battle queen to its original configuration. So they spend the money to buy the rifle and then discover a real awful reality. It's not quite as easy as they thought. It happened to me, and I'll give you a great example. Several years ago, I bought a 1917 Lee Enfield No. 1 Mark III SMLE. For about $175 to $200. So outside of it being sporterized, it was actually in pretty good condition, and I had the idea that I could probably restore it fairly easily. That is until I started pricing out the parts that I needed. Turned out that it would cost more to restore it to its original configuration than it would have just to buy the original rifle itself, a complete rifle. So yes, that rifle was sold off eventually. What a lot of collectors forget or simply don't know is that most of the sporterization of military firearms took place from the 1950s to the 1970s. And because there wasn't much of a market for spare parts back then, anything taken off the rifle, wood, swivels, and the like, sights, were just simply thrown away. And that means that there are far more sported rifles out there than there are the spare parts to restore them. And as Adam Smith's invisible hand argued, and continues to be proven day after day, items that are in high demand and low supply are more expensive. So you could go down the reproduction route. I know there are people out there who make stocks from reproducing machines and that sort of thing. But remember, a lot of things are made as one-offs or in low production, so they aren't going to be any cheaper than the original parts. So my suggestion is do not fall into that romantic belief that you can savor unless you're prepared to spend a lot of time and money into restoring a firearm. So the next thing, this isn't a mistake per se, it's more of a choice, but I think collectors of military surplus rifles who don't reload ammunition are making a mistake. New production ammo is constantly getting more expensive, while other stuff simply hasn't been produced for decades. You know, I own several rifles which commercial or military ammunition hasn't been produced in 60, 70 years in some cases, or even a century actually for one of them. And a lot of them are essentially unobtainium. Reloading at least offers the possibility that you will at least to get that fire that rifle or handgun. Relying on the market means that you may buy rifles that you'll never be able to fire, assuming that you want to. On top of that, it's actually a great hobby to potentially save money if you do it right. Time, because you know, hunting for ammunition that you can't find eats up time. You'll learn some skills, you'll appreciate the value of precision and craftsmanship. So think about reloading if you don't. Finally, if you do a search for collecting military surplus rifles on YouTube or the internet, you're going to immediately be presented with a million top 5 or top 10 lists telling you the essential rifles that you must own as a collector. And that's fine if you want to be a generalist. But I think sooner or later you'll find that you want to specialize in something, be it French rifles from World War I. Good luck, expensive. American rifles of the 20th century, Civil War pistols, Commonwealth firearms, whatever it may be. Look at the lists. There's nothing wrong with looking at them. It might give you some ideas. But they all tend to be pretty much the same as each other. They're all going to tell you collect the M1 Garands. They're all going to tell you to collect the Mosin Nagants or SKS 45s or M1903s or Lee Enfields. They're virtually identical to each other. They might throw in the occasional oddball just to be different, but in essence, they're all going to be the same. Just don't consider them to be the gospel. Figure out what grabs you personally and start from there. You never know where your collecting will take you over the years. You'll find, like, Ian from Forgotten Weapons. You'll find that you love Japanese rifles at one point, and then, find, that doesn't really interest me anymore, and you start to be enthralled by French firearms, as he is, or Italian firearms. You never know. At any rate, that's it. Like I said, a quick and dirty video. I didn't want to go too long on this one. As always, if you liked what you saw, please feel free to like and share the video and subscribe to the channel. That's always a help. There are, as well, links in the description to my Facebook and Twitter pages. As always, happy shooting, safe shooting.